Hello and how are you, viewers? We are back again on set on this program that we are calling Unpacked. Today we are trying to unpack issues about democratic union. To be specific, we're looking at the agricultural sector. And in our studio today we have the president of the party, that is Ackim Njobvu. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Before we go to the nitty-gritties, I'm sure people would love to know who is this Ackim Njobvu.
Okay, thank you so much. So Ackim Njobvu is a young man, like you can see. I'm a flight engineer by profession. I'm also a chartered accountant. I'm an economist. I'm a global investment analyst as well as an insurance practitioner. So this is who I am. I'm a young man, very ambitious, who thinks I think has got the potential and the integrity to lead this country to where it needs to be. As you have seen, I think Africa there's that change that is happening around Africa where young leaders are taking up leadership and performing or outperforming our old foxes. So we believe it's time for us, the young ones, to take over the leadership of this country so that we don't just make promises, but we act on what we think is right so that the masses of this country can benefit. Right now, I think Zambia is in a hopeless situation because I think we have had leaders, I think, who have not really lived their talk. The leaders who have promised this and that, but when they are given the mandate, they do something different. So with us, we are coming on a political platform to give that alternative option to the Zambians. Right now, Zambia's politics is characterized by politics of bitterness, revenge, anger, and all these negative things. So we want to give the Zambians an option, a political party that brings about a transformation in the country, but it's also one which unites all the Zambians, which will not look at tribe, will not look at region, but to look at everyone as Zambian and make a strong bond and force together so that we transform this country. The vision of the Democratic Union is to build a new Zambia, a transformed Zambia where we're going to pride ourselves as having worked for the country. Right now, if you look at our peers here, we see a lot of development, things that we can point out that Zambia, I think, has remained behind. So we'll be quick to mention that Tanzania is making its own planes, they've got speed trains. We also want to be in that space where I think we see that real development. We don't just want development to be on the mouth. We want development to be looked at, to be said, okay, this is what has done, this is what we've done. We don't need to explain. We want development that explains for itself. So Ackim Njobvu is that person, God-fearing, of course. I'm a person who's got a background of service. I used to be in the Air Force before, where I served this country. So I'm very loyal and very patriotic. I love this country. I cannot do anything to hate this country. Whatever I do, I prioritize the country. And for me, going into politics is something that I've taken as a calling. It's a calling for me and a call to service. So a call to service sometimes requires somebody to leave the comfort zone and be able to answer to that call. I was the chief financial officer for a multinational company where I was very comfortable. But if you have to answer to the call of God, it may come with good things. It may come with unpalatable things. So all those I welcome them because my focus is to serve the Zambian people. Who knows, maybe it's me who's supposed to help this country. So I cannot withhold but to answer to that call. So I believe with this and believing that I'm a man who loves to serve, I think I'll be best positioned to help this country get transformed. Especially that I fear God. I'm a person with a strong Christian background. I want to invoke the power of God on this journey. If I draw you back when we were launching the party, I'd said if you look at we learned from the United States of America that if development was empowered or supported by God, George Washington made a commitment that this country will be in the hands of God, and to confirm that, they put the acronym on the dollar bill, in God we trust, to tell you that they want God to be with them, their pillar and guide on that journey, the journey to great transformation. We see today the way America is built. America is such a powerful force, a powerful country, economically, spiritually, in most of the areas, because the hand of God was on that country. So we want to use that same favor that God gives to leaders, such that we can also build our country. But the core of development is integrity. If you have leaders who lack integrity, you cannot see development. If you've got leaders who are selfish, you cannot see development. If you've got leaders who are liars, you cannot see development. Development does not easily come. Development comes with integrity, development comes with sacrifice. So those are the things that I'm prepared to, together with the Zambians, to work together and push this country to where it needs to be. We've got enough resources in this country, the land, the mineral resources, the water, everything we have. What we need is to sit down. Maybe we need a men's conference to say, guys, should we be a laughing stock when we have all these things? Can we have a men's talk, men's conference, and chart the way forward for development of our country? Aside the political lies, aside all these selfish desires, let's focus on building the country. Together we can do it. Yeah.
You're speaking so passionately and with so much energy, like you said, youthful leader. There are many things that you brought up that we may look or we may try to delve into or try to unpack. But specifically, let's try to unpack issues to do with the agriculture sector.
Yes.
Your party, from its inception, when it was launched, I'm sure you've structured on how you want to see the agriculture sector flourish in the country.
Yes.
Over the years, we've had issues that we have witnessed: late delivery of farming inputs.
Yes.
And then this has also affected mostly the small-scale farmers.
Yes.
As Democratic Union, how do you wish, or how have you structured the issues to do with delivery of inputs and issues to do with FISIP to the farmers out there?
Okay, thank you so much. So I was in Eastern Province, I think in December, and in December I had a chat with some people who said they were still waiting for inputs. So imagine in December I think our rain season, and normal rain season starts from I think about this October to somewhere March. So 3 months into the rain season, people haven't still received inputs. Then you expect a bumper harvest. Even in the time, like last year we had good rains, so we expect a bumper harvest. But in the absence of these inputs being given on time, I think you don't expect a good harvest. So for me, it's lack of seriousness on the people who are charged with the responsibility of ensuring that the process of farmer input support runs smoothly. So if we talk about what the Democratic Union will do differently, first of all, we need an enhanced and optimized system in terms of farmer input support. We need inputs that I think are affordable, first of all. I think that's the first challenge. Then secondly, we need to deliver inputs on time. If we are serious about agriculture on this same topic of diversification, I think input support is quite key. So we need early delivery of fertilizer, seed and equipment to these people who need them. If we can have them delivered maybe by July or August, so that people have them and they plan ahead to say, okay, since we have this, I'll do so much hectares, I'll do so much hectares of maize, so much hectares of this other crop. It's easier for them to plan. How do you plan if you do not have the inputs in your hands? Because you can't plan just on speculation. You need the inputs in your hands for you to plan better, to know how much hectareage you're going to farm. So for the Democratic Union seeks to improve on the delivery time in terms of the process that is set up for this farmer input support. In the long term, I think we are looking at diversifying the whole process. Let it not be handled from Lusaka, but let the provinces manage their own process so that the process is smooth, so that we even curtail issues of corruption, curtail issues of unidentified beneficiaries. So because I think in the province it will be easy to administer, we will know the people around the places. We work hand in hand with the district agriculture officers so that you know which areas need more inputs and the like, other than it being done from central government, where you do not know even the beneficiaries. So we need an enhanced farmer support system. Then also we need to encourage farmers to farm. We need to encourage them. We need to motivate them somehow. So we need to find a way of motivating. And also there's the support that needs to come with the agriculture extension officers. Because farming is a very complicated business, very complicated process. It needs that support from the government. You can't just give inputs and then say you've delivered on what you needed to deliver as a government. You need that continuous support, where the agriculture extension officers to support the farmers, to help them, to ensure that I think the yield is much more than they usually expect. Yes.
Okay. Talking about farmers and inputs being delivered.
Yes.
The other challenging aspect that we have seen our farmers being faced with is an issue to do with the pricing of the commodities.
Yes.
And also the issues to do with the market. We're coming from a time where some farmers were arrested for selling some of their products across borders, and then yet others have been allowed. So in the issues of pricing and market,
yes,
as DC or as DU, sorry,
yes,
how are you projecting this, and how best do you think the government today can be able to work around it so that farmers begin to appreciate what they are doing?
Okay, so first of all, you see, no one engages in business to make a loss. So when you engage in business, you have to make a profit. So agriculture is a very complex process. So for us as Democratic Union to encourage the farmers, we want to liberalize the agriculture sector. What am I saying? When you do your farming, there are different costs that go into production. So for example, I can produce a 50 kg bag of maize at 50 kwacha. You can produce a 50 kg bag of maize at 70 kwacha. Now imagine we come in as a government and say the floor price will be 75 kwacha. Do you think you'd want to make a 5 kwacha profit on a 50 kg bag? I think that's little. But for me who produced at 50 kwacha, I think it may make sense because that's about say 50% profit. So what we will do is we'll say, okay, the government, yes, quite right, our floor price is at 75 kwacha. But people must be given the leeway to say where they make a profit, so that we encourage them even the other year to do farming. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell them this is the floor price of the government. If you want to sell to the government, you can sell it at this price. But it should be open that they should be able to sell outside the country. We can find a way of supporting them, maybe through cooperatives. We can be able to sell outside the country where they're able to get into contracts with outsiders to buy the maize. What's our advantage there? We've got the advantage of forex coming into the country, not only forex, but revenue coming into the country, building on the country's development. So when we do that, how are we going then to ensure that we've got food security within the country? So with us, our strategies that we are going to set up a strategic cooperation in agriculture, which we are calling the National Food and Agriculture Corporation. So this National Food and Agriculture Corporation, first of all, it's mandated with the responsibility of ensuring food security in the country. We want 2 to 3 years food cover, so that we are covered. Even if we've got 2 to 3 years of drought, we are covered as a country. So once we set up these national corporations, they will ensure that food is available in the government sheds in all the provinces, if not all the districts, so that even if our farmers are able to sell, because what we want to encourage, we want agriculture to be a business, not just a way of people surviving on, but to be a business. So when we encourage them to do a business, you see a lot of agriculture activity increasing and improving. But for us to ensure food security and to contain the price of meal, we've got this institution that we want to set up. We should have a commercial farm in every district, so that once they do their farming, they are able to produce to farm maize and any other cash crops, so that they sustain these farms. So that's how the process will be around that. But talking about the market, even this institution, we expect it, first of all, to build food security in the country and be able to export excess, because we are looking at generating revenue for the government. We are looking at increasing revenue for the government. So all other avenues that are available for the government to generate revenue must be used. Agriculture is one of them. We are centrally located here as a country and have all the land and the water that we have. Therefore, we're able to develop this sector. We don't want it to just be rhetoric, where we say, let's diversify away from minerals, let's do this, just talking. But when people are given the mandate, they forget about all these things. Until when there's a drought, then they want to show that they are focusing on agriculture. So you will see attention to the agriculture sector will win off because we've had a good year or a good rain season. That's how our leaders have been in the past. But we want to do something different. We've seen that agriculture has the potential to help this country, to help us come out from where we are right now. Yes.
If agriculture has the potential, like you have rightly put it, and I agree with you, say agriculture has got the potential. Yes. We're coming from a background where our generation tend to look at agriculture as the least of the careers or career pathway that one may pick up.
Yes.
You even find that institution like the NRDC is less congested because it has to do with agriculture.
Yes.
So in a nutshell, most of the youths today, they don't look at agriculture as a career pathway, as a means of a livelihood. meaning we have got less involvement of the youths.
Yes.
Probably maybe because of the education sector. How do you intend, as the party, as the engineer himself,
Yes.
how do you intend to see to it that youths of today and those that are going to be born tomorrow begin to have a different view of agriculture, and them not only having a view, but them also being involved and engaged in the production of food security in this country?
Okay, so we need that excitement, which I can call excitement, because right now there's no excitement for the youth to go into agriculture. You see, the rain patterns have been very bad, and most of those who have attempted to go into agriculture, some of them have made losses. So we need government intervention. There at times needs the government, because of its powerful machinery, to help out in terms of setting up these farms, resettlement schemes where our youths are able to go and start farming. For example, we've got these farming blocks. You've got a farming block that has nothing on it. How do we motivate a youth to go and settle there and start agriculture? First of all, he has to look at issues of irrigation equipment and all that. So it becomes difficult. Agriculture somehow requires a lot of investment initially for you to kickstart. So we need a government. That's why as Democratic Union, we are putting in place a deliberate plan through a corporation which we are calling the National Engineering and Construction Corporation, which we want to mandate with the responsibility of setting up irrigation equipment in all the farming blocks. So we need this platform where we say, you as a youth, Edwin, go and do farming. You go on a resettlement land, then you find there's water on it. Won't you be motivated? So we need that motivation to be there. And also we need to provide enough agriculture extension officers so that these people are helped. And also demonstrate by liberalizing the economy, such that those who are in agriculture, if they start making money, people will be motivated to go into agriculture. But right now, the way it is, right now we are fighting with people who are selling produce outside the country. We harass them. Those who are even selling ZNS maize, I'm sure you saw some few months what happened in Tendele. Yes. Do you think you want to go into that area? You don't want to be harassed that way. So you want a business that is smooth, the business that is clean, so that you will not be on the wrong side of the law. So we need to liberalize it as a way of motivating people to go into farming. Because if you know that the market is there in DRC, the market is there in Malawi, Mozambique, you'll be definitely being motivated to go into agriculture. But we do not have a specific plan to say this plan is just for the youths. It's youth. I think the youths are very relaxed to go into agriculture. But once we liberalize the sector, we provide proper support into the sector, I think they will then be enticed to go into agriculture, because it's agriculture. Farming also requires some form of passion for you to go into agriculture, because there's a lot of patience required. There's a lot. You need to love plants. You need to love the process. So it's a bit difficult. But with us, we are going to make sure that we provide a way of supporting these people, such that getting involved in agriculture would be a good business, because of the markets that we need to open up for the agriculture sector. It doesn't need to end up at just producing. There was a time, I think, in Eastern Province where the people there produced a lot of soybeans, but then the price was very low. The following year, they didn't even do that. So what stopped the government from finding a market outside? You see, it's just lack of seriousness at times. When you've got information that this is what is happening, why can't you facilitate as a government? You know a country where maybe they need soybeans. You say, we'll find a market for you. You find a market, you tell them, bring your what, we sell it for you, then we pay you. The government can do that. That shows that the government is serious about it, the well-being of its people, and also encouraging farming. If the floor price here for soybeans is low, find a market outside. There must be a country that is in need of soybeans. A government-to-government contract can help your people. So, because at that point, imagine where we've got today. We are talking about the dollar being at 29 to a kwacha being 29 to $1. If you found a market somewhere where they are willing to buy that soybeans, you sell it. That is a forex coming into the country. You have scored double. You have helped your people. You have helped to contain or reduce the FX rate. So those are the things that we need to work together as Zambians. That's why we have been calling for young Zambians to get into leadership, because I think there's also some ingenuity within the young people that I think our elders may not possess, because at the time you age, you find that sometimes the thinking capacity begin to reduce. You may have the wisdom, but the rate, the velocity or acceleration of your thoughts is somehow reduced. So if we are faced with a challenge here, Edwin, there will be a certain speed with which you will respond to that challenge. But an elderly man may start, maybe sometimes even use experience to deter you from providing a solution. So we want a lot of young people to get into leadership so that we're able to tackle quickly certain challenges that we are encountering today. Unlike maybe being slow paced in terms of thinking, always looking at the past, what did we do in the past? The past, yes, provides us with experience, but sometimes it can be an enemy of progress or change. So we need young ones who are very innovative. This is the era of AI. It requires fast thinking, fast response to challenges. So we need to find a quicker way. You can't say that, no, because there's too much soybeans, let's reduce the price. No, why can't we find the market outside and help these farmers? Because you always need to encourage the farmer to produce the same product again. But if you discourage them through the price, they won't farm. We saw it in Eastern Province. Two things, from cotton and soybeans. You see, if they farm, then they see that the price was bad. Next year they won't. They just concentrate on maize. If it's the cotton, they'll do the same. But if you find an international market and say, okay, we know you've produced a lot of soybeans, you've produced a lot of cotton, can we find you an international market? How much tonnage have you produced? Then you engage an international player. China is always ready to receive these products from Africa. Why can't you engage China on a government-to-government basis and say, we get a good price for our citizens? And these are the things that our permanent secretaries, our ministers should be interested in. It's not just about enjoying the incentives that come with these roles. So that's the difference with people who perceive leadership to be a service and those who look at it as an opportunity. So that's the difference. So when you are there, you know that you're working for the people. How are you supposed to help the people? And one thing you must learn about leadership is that if you look at the people who offered themselves genuinely, their names are still something that we hold in high esteem. If you look at the KKs, if you look at the Nelson Mandelas, they are not as rich as our former presidents have been. But we still remember their names to say these at least saved the country. Those who've been very rich, we easily forget about them. Just like the Bible says, a good name is better than riches. So those who have offered themselves, the Nyereres and these other leaders who are great, they were not wealthy, but the service they provided to their country is something that is remembered. So we need to understand. That's why sometimes I don't know what needs to happen for political leaders, to only have those people who are ready to serve, not those who are looking for only business opportunities. Yes, there are those who want business opportunities, and there are those who need just to serve. That's the only difference. That's why you see maybe the struggle that we're having currently right now in Zambia is that the president is doing business. So it becomes difficult for him to provide that leadership that he's supposed to provide as a servant of the people against him being a businessman. So it's just looking at opportunities, and everything that works around him that is negative to the citizen doesn't pay much attention. The issue of fuel, we look at the issue of fuel right now, where we see in Malawi people are buying fuel at, is it 12 kwacha or 15 kwacha?
Some at 15.
Yes, and the us here are buying it at 36. So why can't you ask the people in Malawi, where are you buying your cheap fuel? They tell you this is where we're buying it. I'm sure even Russia today would be ready to give us cheap fuel. But because he's a businessman, he's doing business. You see, the things keep changing. We keep learning each and every day. In those 8 days, we say we need a rich man as a president so that he doesn't steal. But is that the case now? It's the opposite. We wouldn't want to have a rich man in state hands because we know that they'll start concentrating on business and trying to build an empire. So that's not good. That's the lesson that we've learned. So we keep learning each and every day. Yes.
Okay, as we wrap up,
Yeah.
my last question. Assuming you win the forthcoming elections,
Yes.
what we have had, this is testament of history both on print media, social media, and the traditional media.
Yes.
This issue of promises not being kept,
Yes.
meaning politicians say what they don't do.
I don't do.
100 years in office,
Mhm.
what kind of policies would you put up as a democratic union to
Thank
see
you.
to it that we have a different face in the agriculture sector?
Okay, so first of all, our manifesto is divided into two parts. We've got what we are calling the Emergence and Resuscitation Economic Plan and the National Development Plan. So the Emergence and Resuscitation Plan is supposed to be implemented within 100 days of us getting into government. So first of all, I must be quick to mention that yes, politicians always change when they are given the mandate. But for us, I think as the Democratic Union, we are a party that is based on Christian principles. So we believe that when we go into government, one of the serious commitments that we've made is that we want to be accountable to man and to God. So man meaning you are going to give us the vote, and to also God who gives the presidency. So it's a very serious undertaking. I don't think there's any politician who has said I want to be accountable to God this fine Zambia. No, maybe I'll be the first one because of the fear that I have for God and know that He's the one who gives the leadership. So you see the other challenge that has been there with the presidents that we've had. There's never been a vision carrier. If you look at the presidents that we've had after KK, and most of these have inherited deep political parties. So when we are setting up a political party, in my case, I've got a vision and I've got this plan, I've got these strategies which I want to implement when given the opportunity. So if I move out, would there be somebody who will be able to implement the plan the world wanted? The vision is built from the heart where you've got a desire to serve. But if you look at these leaders, if you look at even HH was not the vision carrier for the UPND. If you look at ECL, it wasn't the vision carrier for the PF. Those people who set up the party, their own passion, their own ambitions, and the vision. So you find that when that is disturbed, or the opportunity is not granted at the right time, we find that even the vision is lost. If you look at the agenda that Michael Sata had in terms of infrastructure development, he had even started implementing that because he was the vision carrier of the Patriotic Front. And when he died, things were distorted. If you look at the loans that he was getting, the Eurobonds and everything, he deployed them in the energy sector, which I think for me wasn't a bad idea because I think we needed enough power, we needed enough energy for us to see industrialization and development. So sometimes the other reason is that these leaders that you put in do not even have the vision. They do not have the vision, they do not have the plan. If you look at the UPND right now, they're touching here and they're trying this, try this, try this, try this. They're just trying. And we find that things cannot connect and things are failing. They're even making ambitious targets like, no, we want 3 million metric tons of copper. Who are you giving that 3 million metric ton of copper? I'm against that. Why am I against that, such ambitions? You do not own the mineral resource. Right now, Zambia doesn't own we don't own our resource. But then we are creating ambitious target of 3 million metric ton per year to give an outsider, to enrich them in short. What about us? For me, I would love a situation where we say, let's empower ourselves, let's get 70% of the mineral resource, own it, let Zambians possess it. We find a way of helping Zambians to get into the mining industry. Then once they get in there, then we set our ambitious target, 3 million metric ton. Then what are we doing? We are empowering the Zambians. We are building our economy. But in the absence of us not owning the resource, we are just selling it to the outsiders, the investors. Then that means our ambition is misplaced. But talking about the Democratic Union, our 100 days in government, the first things that there are few things that we want to do. There are three things that we intend to do within the 100 days. First of all, we want to declare one province a capital economic zone where we start mobilizing capital for the manufacturing sector. Because we are looking at adding value to our natural resource, we are looking at adding value to our agriculture produce. So we want to declare one province a capital economic zone so that we start building capital for this sector. The challenge that has been there is to get cheap capital. Where do we find this capital? This capital can be found in Zambia because we've got a lot of rich Zambians in this country, very wealthy Zambians. But they are hiding their money outside the country. So you need God's grace to be able to mobilize this capital, so that the same Zambians bring back this capital and deploy it within the country. So that's what we intend to do. Then we also intend to set up national corporations. 2 national corporations that is in the mining sector as well as agriculture within the 100 days. Within the 100 days, I will even create one more ministry, which I will tell you at the appropriate time, so that we improve on this resource that we have. So we expect to create the Natural Resources Corporation, where we're going to start mining our natural resource. These are precious metals. We will not go deep into copper. Copper is capital intensive, but we look at precious metals that we can work on. Then also the agriculture, we expect to roll out the agriculture sector with a serious intention, So expect all that to be done within 100 days so that we start mobilizing capital. We build our reserves because there's a need to subsidize certain essential commodities. Even just our staple food, shima, miri meal, needs to be subsidized at this time because a lot of Zambians are struggling right now to put food on the table. Then also, for us to subsidize that, we need to build our reserves. How are we going to build our reserves? We need to mine these precious metals like gold, which we have in abundance, so that we build our reserves, we start paying off our debt, external debt. I don't believe in debt restructuring, by the way. I don't believe in debt restructuring. It is good for others who think it's good, but for me, debt that is postponed it's not that you've been forgiven, unless if it's forgiven, but I believe in us paying. And you see, the good thing about paying your debt is you gain back your freedom. And when you gain back your freedom, you are free to do other things. But in the absence of it being restructured, you're still tightened, you're still chained in some way. Then if the debt is just written off, you can't still have that pride or that integrity that you are supposed to have. So we believe in the debt being paid. And then the other challenge that we have in this country is why there's no liquidity in the country, or why the economy cannot really see that activity that we need to see. It's because we've got a lot of debt that we are owing to local suppliers within the country. So that's the biggest burden that we have right now. If I was to come into government next year, I'll make sure that we need to find resources to pay off the local debt. Once we pay off the local debt, it will excite economic activity within the country. Then we'll see that things will begin to improve. So there's two things that we need to do. We need to engage in infrastructure development and paying off the local debt. If we don't do that, then this development that we're talking about is far-fetched. So within the 100 days, we need to implement those strategic operations and declare one province a capital economic zone so that we kickstart the process of rebuilding this country. Yes.
Have been your host, Dr. Edwin, and we've been talking to himself, the engineer of Democratic Union, Dr. Engineer Njobvu. Good morning.
Thank you so much.